musical biopics.
Musical biopics.
Biopics.
Not musicals, mind you.
Yeah,
Or
not
biopics.
Musical biological pictures.
yes,
That's the one.
not musical, not movie musicals, like Mamma Mia.
Or the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah,
My favorite.
Prince of Egypt is good.
it's not my favorite movie musical though.
What's your favorite movie musical?
Little Shop of Horrors.
That's alright. Which cut though?
The one with the good ending. By which I mean the one where Seymour 2 rules the world. Not the happy ending.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Oh, it's great.
It came out
Yeah,
on
the director's
the
cut.
Blu-ray re-release.
Yeah.
Put it out.
I watched it like fucking.
Oh, you should rewatch it.
Yeah,
It holds up.
it's really worth
really cool.
rewatching.
It is definitely worth rewatching. I watched it this past year.
Oh, cool. I'll give it a go.
Give it a bash. Well, if you've been listening to our ramblings, you know you're on the CineBeards. I'm your host, Jason Musicanth. With me, as always, are Marcus Knafe,
Yes?
Thomas Sharp,
Hello.
and Deon Van Heerden.
Yeah. Yep. That's me. And
Sorry, I just-
special guest star Winston.
Yeah. Sorry,
Wilson.
I'm just fondling a ball.
Ayo.
That's a football and you're touching with your hands.
I know, right?
Penalty, red card to the camps.
Hey, at least I'm not letting our son play with it, okay? He would break something.
He's having a nap.
Yeah.
So please keep your voice down.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So, like, you're like, okay, I'm not going to let him play with it because he's going to break something. And in doing so, you're breaking his heart.
Yes.
That's ice cold.
Savage.
Okay, so this episode we're talking about musical biopics. Although they don't necessarily have to be real ones because
Yeah, two of the
Walk Hard
best
is
ones.
amazing.
Yeah.
What? Which one?
Walk
Walk
hard.
Hard.
Walk Hard and Popstar.
That's more
Yeah.
of a mockumentary style kind of thing than a
Yeah.
biopic because it doesn't follow his life. It's more of like a what's
Slice of
happening
life.
with him.
Yeah.
So more.
It's more of a
more along the
music.
lines of Spinal Tap rather. So Marcus, you're the one that suggested this topic for this week.
Yes, I just really wanted an excuse to talk about Walk Hard, but I won't jump right into that.
Seeing as it is the parody one,
Yeah.
it would make sense not to.
So, like, just this past week, I finally got round to watching Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, yeah?
It's taken you this long.
It's taken me this long.
It's taken me longer, seeing as I didn't get time to watch it this week.
It's really
You guys are
fucking
both
good.
failures.
fantastic.
It's taken me the longest.
Because you're going to
Well,
watch it
we're
off.
tied at the moment,
I've been live longer than you, though.
but it still came out. at
No.
the same time.
Where was I? Oh yeah, so Straight Outta Compton.
It's great.
It's just great. I mean, the portrayals, like the actors play the characters so on point.
Well, the guy that they got to play Ice Cube is Ice Cube's son.
Yeah.
So...
No, there's that, and Ice Cube pitches shows up too. But like the guy who plays Dre,
Yeah,
Like-
who then... You see him in another film, Kong Skull Island. He is
Yes.
the assistant to John Goodman.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he
He
plays.
plays Dre.
Yeah.
He plays
he plays
John
Dre.
Goodman.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big fat suit.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah,
I don't
he's-
know. If you ask Christian Bale, that's phoning it in.
No, like no,
Eh.
he.
But if you ask Gary Oldman, that gets you a nomination.
Yeah, and he nails Dr. Dre, and like even the smaller bit players, you know, like the guy that plays Snoop Dogg, just sort of nails early Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I think everybody did pretty good
Yeah.
character work, and the fact that Dr. Dre was a producer and
Yes.
like on set and part of the writing process was, you know, important for the development.
I don't think I
And
have
also
enough
it was a
knowledge
really-
about them to.
And it was a really like compelling narrative. I mean, the whole rise and fall of NWA.
It was, and I liked that it showed off what abject fucking shitheads a lot of them were.
Yeah.
Like they were not. They
were-
did
they were
bad
not really
things
good people, yeah.
sometimes, Which is
What?
yes.
So you're telling me that stigma came from somewhere and not nowhere?
that's correct.
Well, I mean, the NWA, I mean, they fund so many politicians and, like, they just, like, anti-gun
You're
control.
thinking of the NRA.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
It's like the white NWA.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'm on board.
With just as many shootings.
Maybe even more.
But
Yeah.
it was. It's like it.
Do
it's
you
just
need a
thing.
passing knowledge of it to kind of appreciate
no,
I
it?
don't think it would have
Absolutely.
been such a huge, like, just across the board success if you did.
No,
Yeah.
and like it shares a similarity with a movie that I'll bring up, and that's I'm Not There. Like you don't need knowledge of the subject matter. It only fleshes it out for
Yes.
you.
That's definitely an interesting take on the musical biopic.
Yeah.
I'm not there.
I'm not there yet. It's a bizarre take
It
on
is,
the music.
yeah, it is, it
Bob
is.
Dylan one.
Yeah.
Yes.
It like I watched it and I don't really consider myself a Bob Dylan fan. I know his music, but it's passing knowledge of his music. I think I think a lot of that movie's kind of lost on you unless you fucking know some Bob Dylan
Yeah.
stuff. Like a lot of the time while I was watching it, I was actually looking stuff up. And
that's
I
the
mean,
thing.
that was cool. So I know a little bit more about Bob Dylan now, but
Yeah,
like,
and that's the thing about I'm Not There, as opposed to, well, we'll get to I'm Not There in a bit, like in more detail, because that one is fucking fantastic.
oh, it's
I love it to
absolutely
bits.
fantastic.
But like, unlike something like that, if you have no idea even who NWA were, like,
Yeah.
or who any of the people were who were part of that story, the story on its own is compelling enough, and the characters are fleshed out well enough that you want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah, because it's still at its core a 3-part movie.
Yeah.
And it takes your characters from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
And they're all fleshed out properly with their own motivations, and it's all pretty elementary stuff. It's
Yeah.
it like I said, it's only if you kind of know who these people are that some of the stuff's like, oh,
Yeah,
But you
I think
don't
a good,
need
a
that.
good biopic, yeah, you should ideally not require any knowledge of.
Yeah. No, for sure.
it should be able to work as a movie
Yeah.
in and of itself, which is why I think
Otherwise, just read a biography.
yeah.
Like, okay, no, I know it's not a music biopic, but I knew nothing about the guy who created Wonder Woman, Professor Marston,
Oh,
before
yeah.
watching Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah.
And,
is it?
like, it's a fantastic
It's
film.
really good. It's not super accurate,
Yeah.
but as a movie, it's damn good, and it's entertaining enough to hold your attention.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I had no idea, like, what he was about, and that film did give you some insight, even though it was slightly more dramatized, but, you got the idea of who this guy was and why he did what he did. Even if they do embellish, which is something that happens in especially in musical biopics,
Yeah.
quite a lot.
Yeah, because they're larger than life characters, and a lot of them are kind of a big deal. So
Yeah.
it's important to portray them as kind of a big deal,
Even
because
when-
they have fan bases that if you kind of drag them through the mud a bit, they're not going to take kindly to it.
No, that's the one problem. Even when they're like trying to portray them like in the early years of their career, like they still try to make them out to be this big deal when they really at that point in their careers weren't.
Yeah.
It's just like sports players. They
Yes.
perform better when they're on performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just works that way.
Yeah. I don't know. I've got to say, I don't watch musical biopics at all. Ever.
It stresses you out.
Yeah, well, partly they
Or-
stress me out, and partly like I just prefer
Or are you still
reading.
shopping around for a director about
Yeah,
yours?
I just prefer reading biographies, like but biopics in general, like I tend to avoid, just because a couple of the early ones that I watched, when I then sort of went and read up on I don't technically mind, like a little bit of embellishment, but stuff like A Beautiful Mind.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the most egregious case of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
not really. That's definitely one of them. But like the extent to which those things get, and then you go and read afterwards, and it's like, oh, you have this really cool like image of everything, and like, oh, things worked out this way, and things, and like you go read, it's like, no, it absolutely fucking didn't. Then
That's
just
not
make
how
a
that
fiction,
works.
just make a fictional film.
Just say inspired by.
Don't
Yeah.
even say inspired by. Just make an original pitch that like, and just take like the 3 or 4 elements from the person's life that you want to use, and just don't like, I don't know, biopics, because it has to be an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3-act structure. Like it always, I suppose that was a bad introduction to them, but like it always leaves me with a bad taste. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just bugs me. I
Well,
prefer.
then Thomas and I are here to convince you otherwise.
Nah.
But I don't know. He sounds pretty set in his ways.
Yeah,
But he
that-
hasn't watched I'm Not There.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
I mean that I will give
I'm
a
not
watch.
there's not really going to change your mind.
No.
I watched it this past week. It's good, but it's not going to change your mind on biopics.
I think especially musical ones, because like I'm super into musicians and their lives, and like, you know, I read all those deep cut Beatles books, you know, where they're like going to like details of individual recording sessions and stuff like that, and just how, you know, things get glossed over or and it's just, I always have that idea of a lot of people, even though they shouldn't be, are taking this as gospel because this is the only biographical info they're getting of this person.
Yeah.
And
So
it
it's
is
the
like
only frame
it's
of
And
reference.
it's selling
willfully-
itself as that.
That's the thing, is it sells itself as a biography,
But it's not.
but it's
It's a
not, and it's
dramatization.
willfully misrepresenting people and giving like people. So, you know, people that in real life might have been blameless get demonized or vice versa.
Yeah, just depending on the writer's perspective or
Yeah.
the not the narrative they wanted to push, but the direction they wanted the film to
Yeah,
take.
so I don't know. To me, it's just, it's probably like that's just sort of, I know it feels a little like pedantic or whatever, but just like viscerally,
No,
it
yeah, like
bugs me.
representation's important.
Yeah, it just bugs me really viscerally, and like that's why I just feel super uncomfortable watching a biopic when I know if I go and I sit and I pick up our biography, I'm gonna
You'll get a better, more
I'm gonna get a very
objective
different perspective, and that like millions of people are being fed this and I mean these biopics have ruined lives, you know, where people get misrepresented. Even like Erin Brockovich, I know famously had like a lot of misrepresentation in it.
And that's like a famous, lauded, you
Yeah.
know, good example that people use.
Wolf of Wall Street as well. Super inaccurate.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen that film.
You really should.
It's a good film.
It's factually inaccurate, but thematically, it's accurate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
that-
I'd
that is
rather
fair enough,
I'd
yeah.
rather for something like that they make up fictional
Yeah.
sort of avatar, like to sort of represent that type of Wall Street.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start putting real life people's names to things, it's like I get super.
I mean,
uncomfortable.
just to get a Wolf of Wall Street, like some of the things that were accurate were like that whole bit with the Ferrari and the Quaaludes that really happened. He really like wrecked his car and shit. Like, but they did embellish some of the parties to make them seem like even more like vicey.
Yeah, and they made the eccentric richness of it, I guess, more eccentric.
Yeah, more eccentric. Because you remember when Jordan Belfort, when his book was written, I can't remember if he authored it or it was authored by someone else. Like, what people like experienced as excessive wealth in the 80s, like, isn't seen as excessive wealth today. Like, you have to put it against today's standards to sort of make it still seem like so like over the top and everything. But we're getting a bit off topic.
It's like people who think The Great Gatsby is like, ooh, lovely, I'm gonna have a themed party around that.
Have a Gatsby
Ooh,
theme.
those were the days.
Those were the halcyon days of slavery and racism.
You were saying we're going off topic. You wanna bring it back to the musical ones.
I want to bring it back to the musical ones.
Cool.
Shit, I know. I guess we should talk a bit about I'm Not There, which is a very strange.
I'm Not There is super weird. I also, because
It would have
Yeah.
to be being a Bob Dylan.
it's as
Yeah,
weird as he is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is-
they've got
which
what,
is
7
fitting.
different actors.
Six.
Six.
Playing different.
and one of them was a girl.
Yes.
You mean the Oscar-nominated best performance of the film?
Yes, I said one of them's a girl.
She
The
won a
SJW
Golden
agenda, hey?
She had weird hair too.
Yeah.
It was short.
Short boy hair. That's cultural.
She looked like a young Laura Dern.
Oh.
It's just, no. No, but the thing about I'm Not There is it's a different take because it's not a biopic. Why do we keep saying biopic in the strict
keep saying
sense?
Yeah.
I do. It's probably because I'm myopic. Anyway, it's not a biopic in the strict sense because what I'm Not There does is because Bob Dylan has always been seen as this very complex individual. They use 6 different actors to play the different identities of Bob Dylan. So you have Bob Dylan the storyteller, Bob Dylan the traveler, Bob Dylan the preacher, and they all sort of mesh the storylines together, and it's just it's bonkers.
Yeah, and because they're not ever actually technically portraying Bob Dylan. Like
Yeah.
another thing they
their
do. Which is-
personalities all have different names.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
all have their own names, so they're all kind of embodying something without being a one-to-one. So there's more scope for creative license.
Ah, so it's like an abstraction.
Yeah,
of
it
what-
very much
it's like
is,
an
and because-
abstraction of his life.
And because
That's
the
cool.
film follows a completely non-linear story, it has no 3-act problems.
Yeah, it's almost more of a story about his personality rather than his life.
Yeah,
I like
very
that.
much so. It's
That one, you, I think you've sold me on that one.
You should watch it. You really
yeah,
should.
it's
Yeah,
If
like I
only
said,
Don't
for-
tell me what to do.
Like I
I'm
said,
gonna
it
watch
won't change your mind on
no, because your
biopics.
stance is pretty well reasoned for you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have fun in December.
Oh, are you gonna do it? Are you
No,
gonna
I'm not gonna watch it, but I'm gonna like just have to avoid social media for a month.
You're gonna run away.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch it if only for Kate Blanchett's performance.
Yes.
Because it's
Like,
like
she's in it. Who does she play?
she plays Mr. Bob.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Which is sort of...
Mrs. Mr. Bob, presumably.
No,
No.
Mr. Bob.
Matron Bob.
No,
Lord
Mr.
Bob.
Nurse Bob. The female
The
doctor.
Vice Admiral Bob.
Alright.
Yeah, no, her performance is like critically lauded and rightly so.
Lorded over who?
Us
Yeah.
for being not as good actors.
Also, God, it's so good, you don't realize you're watching Kate Blanchett.
Yeah,
That is a plus for any film.
No, it's like
He said it.
her performance is so
I just
good.
repeated what he said sarcastically. He's an asshole.
yeah,
Kate Blanchett's a treasure. What's wrong with you?
national treasure.
International treasure.
Because all of the, like we said, all of the portrayals are, like Jason said, abstractions of his personalities. Kate Blanchett's portrayal is the closest caricature of Bob Dylan to what he was at like his height of methamphetamine addiction and like artsiness. Like, yeah, it very much so. The character constantly makes you roll your eyes into the back of your head looking at a Banksy piece.
Yeah.
The government is bad,
Oh, what? Really?
Yes.
Thanks, Banksy.
Thanks, guy from Massive Attack.
Yeah. So, but it's a fantastic
Yeah.
acting portrayal.
Nice.
So it's very good.
We should watch it.
Yes.
And then, you do get some musical biopics that are just sort of fun to watch, but sort of middle of the road. Yeah, not really great, not really terrible, like that Joan Jett one, Runaways.
With
Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart
as
it's
Joan
actually
Jett.
one of the movies that I've enjoyed her in the most in
Yeah,
her entire career.
Yeah, no, she's fine. She's
And doesn't it
well,
have-
more than fine at it. She's pretty great in it.
It's got one of the Screaming Sisters.
Yes. Can't remember
Elizabeth
which one.
Olsen.
No, the
No.
other one, the original.
Macaulay Culkin.
No. What are the names?
The Screaming Sisters.
Yeah.
Um,
The Runaways.
Joan Jett.
God.
Oh, it's Bob Dylan.
Of course.
It's Kate Blanchett.
The Blackhearts.
What are their names?
Thomas now knows what Marcus feels like.
What are their names?
Wanting
He does look
serious
like a
response. Wanting proper responses, and you and I are just being assholes.
I'm genuinely trying to help.
The woman. The woman from Super 8.
From Super
The
8.
kid from Girl. The girl from Super 8. What's her name?
Drew Barrymore.
No.
Dakota Fanning.
The other one.
Elle Fanning.
Thank you, Jason.
No,
Wait,
no,
was
you
that
helped
right?
him.
Yes.
You idiot.
Dakota
it's that
Fanning.
facetiousness that just puts things right for me.
Dakota Fanning, the screaming kid.
Yeah. Oh, right, yeah. Well, that's a fun watch, and it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't really.
Like that's the thing. They're either like super creative and different, like I'm Not There, and really good, like Straight Outta Compton, or they're just sort of middle of the road. Just a movie to watch.
Where do you put Walk the Line in that list then? In those categories, if those are the two boxes.
Walk the line with Walking Phoenix.
Yeah. With Walking Phoenix.
Yeah, Walking Phoenix. because he walks a lot.
Walking.
One would say he walks hard.
No, I'd say he walks the line.
Yeah,
No,
so
he walks
the
the
line
line. No,
hard.
walk the line is it's good. It's like legitimately good.
and the musical numbers in it are
Well,
pretty damn
and
good.
that's down to old Walking.
Yeah, but
Man, he nails that Johnny Cash tone.
Yeah, no, the music in it's great.
Interestingly,
did you watch it?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's
Johnny Cash
yeah,
biopic?
yeah, but it's a biopic.
Yeah, but it's a very old biopic.
interestingly, the
But I mean, it's good as a film, but it bugs me for the same reasons
Yeah.
everything else does. But the music is genuinely good. Like Ray as well. The
Yeah, Ray as
Charles,
well.
Like, again, the music's fantastic. I just feel weird
Lied
watching
to.
them.
yeah,
I don't
you
like,
feel like there's like a glossy veneer put
like
over it.
you can't trust any of it. So
Well,
you're gonna go read the biography
Yeah.
anyway.
Interestingly, though, very famously, for the Walk the Line one, his kid watching the movie actually.
Carter Cash.
Yeah, Carter. Thank you. Was actually really upset by the film because it showed her dad's like horrible moments, and like she didn't like to confront it. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say was the music in Walk the Line is done by T-Bone Burnett, which is the same guy that did the music for
Nutcracker. Frozen.
Straight out of Joe and Jack.
Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Oh,
Yeah,
Ayo. Very nice.
same guy.
we were both wrong.
Yeah, we're both wrong.
You were super
where
wrong.
your heads were at, though. That's nice. It shows me what you're thinking about at any given moment. Just snapshot it to your mind.
synth music, Sideshow Collectibles, PlayStation.
Oh, and of course, I don't know if it counts as a biopic, but because
We'll be the judge of that.
8 Mile.
Not. And that was more of a fictional thing.
Yeah.
Where it
Isn't
was
that like,
somewhat
isn't that
based
a,
on
like
his...
a biography, but like of his alter ego?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a biography
Yeah.
of like semi-fictional things.
Yeah.
So it pulls a lot from his own experiences. Like, it's basically like what you were saying they should do,
Yes.
which
It's
was
the closest-
a made-up character
Yeah.
Yeah.
pulling the interesting bits and then
So
also...
by that
a
logic,
bit of- as a
8 Mile is the
fictional.
greatest biopic Deon's ever seen.
No. Walk hard.
You knew that
You're
was
not
coming.
wrong.
It's
You're
John C.
not
Reilly.
wrong. I mean,
Yeah, no. I'll fight you. IRL.
what is it? Meat Space?
No, not in Meat Space.
It's gross. In
Meat Space
Yeah.
is dangerous.
Lady
Meat
Gaga's
Space
the
is
king
sweaty.
of Meat Space.
Oh no.
Don't you mean
That's a
Queen?
website where you can make your own Lady Gaga like fan tribute websites.
What?
Oh, I'm thinking of Squarespace. Never mind.
Ah. See those ads
Use
all the time.
offer codes in the
Use offer code CineBeards
For
and it'll
double
tell
the
you
price.
that we like Netflix.
It just redirects you.
Get
To...
one website for the price of 2.
That's the Cinebeards guarantee. Promise nothing and deliver less.
Yeah, so should we just drop the pretense
Yeah,
and
just drop
proclaim
the
our love for
pretense.
Walk
Yeah.
I watched it again this week after
Yeah.
watching Walk the
Oh,
Line.
I
and it
really
is
need to
so
see that
good.
again.
Yeah.
It is.
Wrong kid died. It's been too long. And it's just thinking back, there's so many actors that I've subsequently come to love that were sort of, that was like my first intro.
Yeah.
Like the guy that kept saying, like, get out of here, you don't want no part of this.
Yeah.
I don't want to
tomatoes.
overdose. You can't overdose, son.
And it's like, well, I don't want to get addicted. It's like, it's completely not addictive.
Well, I don't want a hangover. I definitely can't get a hangover.
It doesn't give you a hangover. I don't know. It sounds
It
pretty
sounds like,
expensive.
I want
It
it.
sounds pretty expensive. It's like, it's the cheapest drug there is.
Why'd you smoking there? Well,
No,
it's
it's like,
heroin. It's a logical next step for you.
God damn it, this is a dark fucking period.
that scene where he goes full Brian Wilson, the Brian Wilson parody scene
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he's like, where he's just got like all the different animals, like doing that hits so close to
An
home.
army of didgeridoos.
It's so,
5,000
the worst thing is like
didgeridoos.
I can see, like, just for myself, I can see that part, like
You
it
can see
seems so
that part of
ridiculous
you.
when you watch it, but like you can feel the psychological impulse that, if paired with like massive success and pressure and drug use, will inevitably
will lead to
it
this.
will lead to that point. Oh man, that's fucking scary to watch.
Is that what you're just gonna live in your Saito collectible synthesizer force? You gotta come in with the password.
But my favorite about like Walk Hard is just how they drop like the pretenses like early on. Like remember when he's like, I'm 14 years old, and it's just very like John C. Reilly.
Yes,
Like,
you're
hear
my
that?
12-year-old
I'm your
girlfriend.
12-year-old girlfriend. Dude, you're 15 years old. You're never gonna make it. I mean, just that disconnect between the characters. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that whole movie is just so great.
I think all biopics should just be like parody biopics.
Yeah. It works so well.
I'm 15 years old and I got a house and a wife with 2 kids. I think I'm doing all right.
And also, like, it has to be said, the music is just fucking fantastic.
Absolutely
Which
brilliant.
is weird because you would think that they would also kind of.
But like, that's
sort
the
of-
part you can see they just took seriously. Like,
Yeah.
there's no fucking around with the music.
No, it's
It's
just
hilarious, but it's incredibly
Yeah.
well done.
like the Let's Duet
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
You can always come in my back door. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. They didn't phone in their musical numbers. They could have very easily made it like, his playing is horrible, but then he gets famous anyway.
Yeah, that could
they
have been
could've-
very much part of the
or
gag.
but I mean, that would have sort of been like, I think it's obviously like a Johnny Cash parody, and making Johnny Cash a terrible musician isn't a parody of Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Like, I think they realized that making him a terrible musician is just
An insult.
yeah, it's just an insult. Like, even because a parody is generally caricature.
Yeah.
It's
So just take everything and amplify it. If you're going to make him terrible, then you're saying, like, secretly he's actually kind of a bit terrible,
Yeah.
and we're just casting a light on that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
But I
great.
mean, the music is just legitimately great.
It's they could have gone with the old-timey camera on a selfie stick.
Yeah, they could have gone
equivalent
that
of music, but they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't.
They
They,
had
wrote
integrity.
really good songs, and they even joke around with the whole thing. It's like when he's on his cocaine bench, it's like, "What are you doing? Jumping around, playing so fast, like some kind of punk?" You know, like how he maybe influenced punk music, like those all those lines and everything.
So good.
When he's playing just the slow rock music and people just go crazy.
Yes. Holding hands,
Yeah.
and Ghostface Killer is in it. You're
is
totally
at the
right.
end, yeah.
Ghostface at the end. Yeah.
I forgot about that. I should have
Didn't know
rewatched
that.
it this week.
I should go rewatch it. Is
You
it on
should.
Netflix?
It is not on
Unfortunately
Netflix.
not, no.
But if you
You've got to
can
own
find
the
it,
DVD.
yeah, I own the DVD. If you can still get a hold of the DVD,
Please lend me your DVD.
Maybe it's
I
on
will.
Showmax.
I will lend you my DVD because it has the bonus features on that DVD are fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they have extended versions of all the songs and like some improv bits, and it's a great DVD.
It sounds like Deon Heaven.
Does.
It is.
I'm just gonna order the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Blu-ray has the same
I'll check
bonus
it.
features, but
Yeah.
definitely
I'm
check.
very thorough about checking my bonus features.
I know, especially
It's
when
one of the
John C.
best-
Reilly is
it's one of the-
involved.
It's one of the best parts about buying physical releases
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah, the bonus
Oh,
features.
like the Blade Runner. Have I actually bought Blade Runner 2049?
I don't think so.
I don't think you've bought it yet.
Well, I'm waiting for that special edition to show up on Amazon.
There's one on Amazon,
I haven't seen it.
but it's like 20k.
That's reasonable.
It's Thomas you're talking to.
That is actually true.
I'll just divert.
I'll link you to it.
Yeah, please. I'll divert my sideshow money. Well, Blade Runner.
No, what's in that collector's edition? Is it like a...
You get Deckard. No, you get Deckard.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling just comes to your house and delivers the box set, and then sits down and watches the movie.
You get a gun
Sit down, watch the movie. When you open your door and he gives it to you, he just does a really awkward song for you.
and you get to keep him for the day.
He's like reading it off a piece of paper as he sings.
And like you're doing chores and stuff, and it's kind of awkward that he's there, and you want to give him attention, but you got shit to do.
So you just gotta, like, I do need to go to the bank today. It's a Saturday, and like I can't go during the week. I'm just too
Yeah,
busy.
sorry. Like, well, you want to just sit and watch something?
Do you watch Blade Runner? No.
Like I can, yeah,
I don't really like that movie.
Oh, yeah, my mind went in a
Netflix on for you. You just
Yeah, just
my mind went in a completely different direction. Like, it comes with Ryan Gosling, and like while you're watching Blade Runner 49, he's just giving you a handy.
yeah. That is
Of
where your
course your
mind.
mind
went.
Of course,
Yeah.
your mind went there. You
that is the least surprising thing you've said on this show ever.
No one is shocked. Are you shocked?
I'm shocked that no one is shocked. Wait, what are we
because
talking
we listen
about?
and care when you speak, Marcus.
No, you don't.
That's true. I
We're
think
so
you're
good at
lying.
this. We're so good at lying to Mark.
The podcast.
So walk on.
That's me on Blade Runner 2049 again.
Because it
How
is,
does it always get back here?
How did I get here? How did I get here?
because why not?
Because why not?
Because fuck Blade Runner 2049.
I mean, you guys are almost as good as the monkeys. You're great. That's a reference to Walk Hard.
Oh,
When he meets the Beatles.
Oh shit! Yes.
Oh,
I mean, where it's like the Beatles and like Elvis and like all these people on the bill.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
Oh, and fucking Frankie Muniz plays Buddy Holly for like all of 2
Oh,
minutes.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. It's Elvis, then Buddy Holly, and then me.
No,
Yeah.
it's Elvis, the Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, and then me.
Chantilly days.
Only 2,000 people in the world know karate, man. There's the Chinese and the king.
Oh man.
Sorry, I could just sit here
I'm trying to
quoting
remember
that movie.
scenes now,
Like,
but
I
because I,
think
watched
he-
Walk the Line and Walk Hard within like a
it's
day
like
of each other,
intermingled.
it's blending
Yeah.
really weirdly.
I think the only
That's
way
a
they could have
strange
tastefully,
blending of
they could
Joaquin
have.
Phoenix like acting a storm up and then a comedy line coming.
I think the only way they could have tastefully made that scene better, where it's like Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper and then Elvis and then me, you know, like would have been if he'd been like, if only I had 2 planes and a toilet. Go on, add like the little biopic, little bit of history in there.
a little bit of history in there.
History lesson. Get the kids learning.
Get them learning. They don't anymore.
You sing sorry to,
Marcus lost his ball.
sorry to like deviate again. Have you seen the Onion? It's either the Onion or Clickhole about the security detail that was in charge of not letting Elvis die on the toilet.
That's Clickhole.
I think it's Clickhole. That's so Clickhole.
It's so amazing. I'll show you it after this.
Please.
I just fucking love Clickhole.
Take Elvis.
This whole team of highly trained men whose sole responsibility was to ensure that Elvis didn't die, and they just dropped the ball.
We made a lot of mistakes, and I think we should really evaluate for next time.
Oh, it's so good.
So Deon, I think seeing as it was Marcus's almost reasoning behind talking about this, we need to talk a bit about Bohemian Rhapsody.
What about what?
Bohemian
About that
Rhapsody.
film that you're super excited for.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. You've
I did
complained about
mention
it
that.
twice before.
I've never
if I'm
complained
counting
about
correctly.
it. I've never
Yeah.
complained.
Twice before.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
good maths.
mentioned that it's coming out soon, and also that Elvis, the Elvis one is also coming out fairly soon.
The Elvis one?
Yeah, Rocket Man. Ugh, not Elvis, Elton John.
I was just thinking,
Jeez.
like, did I
always
completely miss one?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
It's
did-
under the radar.
Yeah.
Have they done like an Oscar baity Elvis biopic yet?
You can't win an Oscar by dying on the shitter.
That's what you say. Not
I don't
that
know.
attitude,
Jeff
Jason.
Bridges could.
It's
If
true.
only he were
Daniel
younger.
Day-Lewis. He comes back for his ultimate challenge.
To be that toilet.
To die beautifully pants down on a toilet.
Oh my god, they can call it the king on his throne.
Yeah. Greenland. Greenland.
Call Graham right now.
I'm gonna call him.
Yeah. I'm a down my throne, baby. I'm the king.
Credits.
Yeah, in credits.
But yeah, no, we're.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm super. It's the weirdest.
What are
thing.
your
like,
reservations?
My reservations are.
How are they
that-
going to paint it differently?
No, not even that. Although I do think Brian May and Roger Taylor were too involved with it. I feel like this is just my reservations are purely subjective because I'm a huge Freddie Mercury fan. I've read every biography, every interview, every.
Would you
Ask
consider
Phoebe
yourself a fan?
Yes. Like.
I mean, he collects the original records, like on vinyl.
So
He's a fan.
So like obviously it's gonna be glossed over. There's certain lenses they have to view it through, and it's also like there's weird lapses. Like again, that's probably super pedantic, but like Brian's talking about writing "We Will Rock You" and Freddie's standing there with a moustache, and it's like that was 2 years before he famously grew his moustache. So why is Brian talking?
No, but
I mean, like that's
no. I don't
It's
think.
pedantic little thing.
I
No,
don't
but I
know,
mean,
I don't
to
think
get
that wrong.
I
But
don't
I
know
mean,
if
for
that's
the fan-
pedantic. That's a research point.
for the fan base, that's a big thing. But it's weird because like the guy that did the official did the red special replicas for Brian May, the Guyton guitars, like he went and built like a slew of guitars that are like each ear accurate, like because it's obviously he played the red special his whole career, but it's had different like
iteration.
Hiccups.
well, no, not even. It's just like different levels of wear throughout the years, and like he at this point it had a restoration, and they've gone like everyone is like era perfect to like down to the fret
Except
wear.
for that pesky moustache.
Well, yeah, but it's such a weird oversight. Like I know it sounds weird from the outside, but like for a fan, like it's just.
Mustaches keep foiling films.
It's like
these
when
days.
it's like having the year Bob Dylan went electric, which was such a like fundamental thing that totally divided his fan base.
that
Have
actually shows up a lot.
Yeah,
in,
have that be
film.
in the wrong year
Yeah.
or the wrong decade. Like,
Yeah.
that's it's just kind of weird. And they've got Mark Martel doing the singing, which is like
That is
Yeah,
good.
fantastic.
we've all heard that
yeah,
singing
and
voice. It's
but
no
like
joke.
Rami Malek looks like. I mean, I don't want to insult someone for not looking like the original person, but it's weird because like Freddie had this sort of really built fucking chin.
Yes,
and
he had
like,
a very strong
and
jaw.
this huge jaw, and then Rami Malek, like when he's got the moustache on, he looks like a child on Halloween.
Yeah,
when
it
he's
looks a little
singing-
bit Halloween
Yeah.
costumey.
And it's weird. Like he does the 70s Freddy perfectly.
Yeah.
But then 80s Freddy looks super weird. I'm also really worried about how they're going to end it. Like, because I know the original pitch was that it's going to end with Live Aid, which was their 1985 resurgence.
walks
like,
out onto the
end on,
stage.
like, because that's where they had a bit of a dip, and then like that was their whole rebirth thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, are they gonna do that though? Because it's really weird since he lived for 6 more years, and like the last 6 years are arguably more interesting.
Yeah, they're super interesting from like if you were a writer, like you would look at those 6 years and everything that happened there. I mean,
Yeah, like you could literally have an entire film of those last 6
Well,
years.
going back to with the line, that's what a couple of criticisms of that film was that you're ignoring one of
Everything
the
that
most
happened.
important parts of his life, which was afterwards, where
Yeah.
like a lot of really important stuff happened that was really interesting and
I'm
quite
really-
poignant with how we have viewed Johnny Cash today.
I'm realistic enough to know this is the thing for any fan when there's a biopic of someone they really love.
Yeah.
So like I know this is not like an isolated thing, but it's just it worries me so much because he is such like a super nuanced character. Like the more you read about him, the more interviews you hear, and it's like I'm just so worried because I know immediately how it's gonna go. It's gonna start with him in Larry Lyrics and Wreckage in the 60s, and he's gonna meet Brian and them, and they're gonna do They're going to form Queen, and it's going to all be about him and Mary Austin, she was the love of his life, actually. And then, like, his burgeoning, you know, homosexuality, you know, the backstage stuff. And then there's going to be this very short, like, meteoric rise, and then it's going to be internal conflict in the band. And then there's going to be that moment where he discovers that he has AIDS in late 84, and then it's going to be, you know, that's going to be at the height of their conflict, and then it's all going to come together for Live Aid, and it's going to be a big old triumph. You know, like, I'm just...
I think that's almost going to be beat for beat.
I'm so
pretty
worried
good
that that's
prediction.
what it is. Like, I hope I'm wrong.
I hope so too.
But yeah, but that's just, and again, like, that's the logical way to do it, but it's also the very...
In the trailers and stuff, I haven't watched them too closely. Have we seen anything that happens chronologically after Live Aid?
There's the one thing where someone says something time, and then he says, "What if I don't have time?" But like...
But that could mean anything.
But I mean, that could also be,
Yeah.
that could be him in, like, 84 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Or
yeah.
we could cut this off. Deon, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he publicly announce via press release that he has AIDS and then literally died the next day?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Really?
was sort of.
I didn't
I
know
assume
that.
it was actually his management probably that put out the statement. But yeah,
Yeah.
like, it was very because remember, I mean, you've seen Glow, like,
Yes.
you know
Yeah.
what the stigma was like around AIDS and homosexuality. So, yeah, like, he was super private about it. I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, the last few years, like, I kind of want them to look at it, but also don't, because it's harrowing, like, how the
Yeah.
press hounded him and
Yeah.
like, you
It
know,
would be
just
a very dark picture.
like, yeah,
well, maybe
it's
that would have been
super bad. How
Maybe that
he
would have been a
and-
better direction to take the film.
yeah,
Well,
but
it
I
might
kind
still
of
be, we don't know.
I honestly think that's probably where, like, someone like Sacha Baron Cohen would have taken it.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
that's sort of that really unafraid. I mean, I can't say for sure, but that's what
But
it feels
he
like.
is that
But I
kind
mean,
of
it's
guy.
those last few years were, like, super hard. Like, the press just wouldn't even, like, I want 1989, which is where, like, the press is hounding him. There's, like, he's in all the tabloids, and then he's just retreated away and he's writing an opera album for his idol, Montserrat Caballé,
Yeah.
you know, and, like, spending the night there, like, singing through the night, and
You want that
you know,
biopic.
like the story for me of Barcelona is much more interesting than Bohemian
Yeah.
Rhapsody. Bohemian Rhapsody was like young, crazy, visionary.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Barcelona album is a guy who knows he's dying and he's putting everything he possibly can into his, like, final labor of love. I know they did albums. That was this was his, like, ultimate baby.
His magnum opus. if
Yeah,
you will.
absolutely. He spent forever writing
And it
perfecting
is
it. Yeah, it's fucking magnificent. Like, that's the story, you know, that's so much more interesting than We Will Rock You.
Yeah,
but,
but-
as you said,
But
these
I
biopics suffer from.
But I
the
understand,
need to-
like, you want millions of people to see it. So
I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody is way more marketable than Barcelona.
yeah, for sure. So I think at the end of the day, the one good thing that can come out of it is just anyone who somehow doesn't have an interest in Queen getting an interest in Queen.
I guess that's
What, like
positive.
millennials?
Aren't we millennials?
We are
Yeah, we're
millennials.
millennials.
Shut up, no, we're not.
No, we're
Young
millennials.
people.
No,
the young
shut
people
up.
now are Generation Z.
They're Gen Zs. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like, if that sort. Although I must say, the one thing I've been too afraid to click on is Panic at the Disco. That did a whole Queen tribute thing now. Yeah.
I did not know that. I
That
see that.
sounds like a war crime. So I'm
That,
not gonna
that
watch
it
that.
looks like a fucking war crime. The one video started auto playing on my Twitter feed. I was
Oh,
like, no,
no.
just uninstall.
They did covers of some Queen songs, and I may have heard like a minute of one of them.
Yeah,
And holy shit, they're bad.
I know.
I'm not surprised. It's my surprised face.
That's,
Yeah, I know.
That's
I'm just saying it quietly because, you know, at one point, Deon's desktop did say, just a casual Panic at the Disco fan that loves Marvel movies.
Oh man,
That was
Yeah.
a good
Cinnamon was
background.
good at pranks.
We miss you, Cinnamon.
I love you, Cinnamon.
Hashtag rip in peace.
Rip in peace, Cinnamon.
Wherever
in
you
South
are in the
Korea.
Far
Forever in
East.
our hearts.
Yeah. So yeah, I have the trepidation more just as a hardcore fan than anything
most.
else. And it's like that fear of, like, misrepresentation.
I get
That's
that.
like-
No,
yeah.
okay. What you on a different level, what you feel about that is how myself or Marcus or anyone would have felt about Blade Runner.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the misrepresentation of something we love and something we're really intimately familiar with, and
Or a
something that...
Netflix adaptation of your favorite anime.
No, we just know it's gonna be a fuck up.
Yeah, I know.
So like, there's no like trepidation.
Oh,
It's just like,
you like Death Note. I saw that. I saw it on the Netflix.
Oh, you're gonna do your reviews.
It's so good. Yeah, I'll do. Although I will say, to
guest
their
spots.
credit, the casting for Brian, John, and Roger is fucking believable. They showed an on-set picture
Yeah.
that I thought was an actual picture of Brian May.
Really?
From the
Wow.
70s.
That's
Him
pretty
standing
impressive.
sort of like looking down with his guitar. And like, I was like, oh cool, you know, like they did it, it's like so-and-so on set. Like, what? It's fucking good.
There's
That's
actually a moment when the family of Winston Churchill went to the set of Darkest Hour,
Oh shit.
and they had like pictures and stuff over there, and the family members were like, "Where did you get this picture of my father?" And it was one that they had recreated with Gary Oldman.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were going to tell me a story about like his daughter or something who's now elderly, like seeing Gary Oldman and going like,
No, but the families were like, "Where did you get this picture of my dad?"
jeez, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
good.
impressive.
So, like, it's a kind of a similar vein there if it fooled you.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Is
I'm
it-
closer than family. So
Yeah,
it's
you are
even
closer
more
than
impressive.
family. Is it prosthetics that they're using, anything like
No,
that?
no,
or
just
is
really
it
good casting.
really good
Probably like little extra work on the hair.
Yeah, a little
I'm
extra
sure.
work on the hair, a little bit of like stagey makeup to try
Probably
to
for
get
like,
the definition
yeah, like any
more
film
accurate.
thing. But yeah, like just the casting is just superb.
No.
Except for Robbie Malek. It should have been Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, I still I can understand now looking at the aesthetic of the film that Sacha would have stood out like a sore thumb.
Absolutely.
If you were doing a film just about 80s Freddy,
Yeah, it's about the age.
it would have
really
worked.
is.
Yeah, but like Malik, I think can pull off the broader
Yeah.
Yeah, so 80s might not work as well for him as it would have for...
for Sacha Baron.
For Sacha
They should
Baron
have
Cohen,
done
but-
2 actors and Kate Blanchett.
There you
Oh
go.
god, there we go!
Perfect casting.
Should have gotten another Oscar for that one.
Greenland. She didn't win for that. Eh?
She didn't win for that.
No.
Just nominated. She got a Golden Globe
Aww, consolation
and
prize.
a BAFTA, I
The
think.
Golden
Yes.
Globe is like
BAFTA.
a participation award for acting.
I guess so.
Isn't a BAFTA basically just like, don't Americans see BAFTAs as like Razzies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, America.
Teen Choice Awards.
Nickelodeon Award.
Yeah.
MTV.
accepted
It's like, oh, is that the one you get when you get
Yeah.
slimed?
That's the
MTV
Nickelodeon one.
Movie Award.
Yeah, where you get the spaceman with the popcorn.
No.
You know what I'm afraid of?
What?
Spiders.
Spook,
The
spooky
dog.
ghosts.
All of those things.
Spotty
I wanted to say spiders, and then I had to change it because you're an asshole.
Yeah, he's the asshole.
I know, right? Yeah.
All of those
What are you
things.
afraid of?
But I'm afraid of a David Bowie biopic getting greenlit.
Oh shit! Yeah, me
That's
too.
almost definitely going to happen.
Okay.
Because, I mean, he...
Now that Deon has
You
provided
put
me
it
with-
out into the ether.
Yeah, now
and-
that Deon has provided me with the context of why I should be afraid of biopics, I now understand, given a personal love of
Yeah.
David Bowie, why I would absolutely hate a David
Yeah.
Bowie biopic.
And like, can you imagine like the taglines that come up within like?
Oh, fucking this is ground control. Or like,
Oh, yeah.
No, they would go worse. They would be like, you could be heroes.
Ouch! Ouch!
We are starmen.
Yeah.
Oh, we're basically writing it for them. But if a Bowie biopic was going to get made, I would
It'll
much
be-
prefer it in the vein of I'm Not There.
Yeah.
I think they would do it that way, because
have
Bowie's
to,
also
yeah.
weird. And
The
Yeah.
chameleon.
Who do
Yeah.
you think they'd get to play his
One of his-
genitals in Labyrinth?
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. Has to be.
For sure.
Or either Kate Blanchett or Daniel Day-Lewis.
To just play the left testicle specifically.
It's his most famous role.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, and how they like they could be all like, you know, from this and this to spiders from Mars. the visionary, you know. This is the untold story of.
Yeah. I am. This is not something I say very often in my entire life, but I empathize with you completely.
It did record. Yes.
Shit.
Is it still recording? Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
I made
But
sure this
yeah,
time.
no,
Wow.
I
Thomas
actually,
has an emotion.
I
This
have
is
an
a big
empathy
moment.
with you because
Wow.
I have also read.
Did you push X?
I know. Circle.
Press X
X
to
was
empathize.
sadness.
Okay.
Yeah.
X was sadness. 0 was empathize. Triangle is emancipate.
Yeah. And
That's
square
actually
was paper
100%
space.
accurate.
I'm not fucking around. That's an option.
That's all the options.
David Cage is a scumbag.
But sorry, back to your feeling.
Yeah. No, because I've also read quite a few biographies of David Bowie, and
Yeah, a biopic would just rub you the wrong way.
yeah.
I think
What if instead of like a biopic, it was like a bio game, and it was done by David Cage?
Fuck you. We're not talking about Omicron. We're not going to talk about Omicron.
Fucking phone at you.
I tried to play Omicron. You know how bad the controls are.
Do you know how bad the X are? That is Omicron.
No, I literally had to look at the manual to figure out how to play the fucking game.
Fuck Omicron.
How
Fuck
to
David
how
Cage.
to walk forward.
No, I'm just gonna get angry.
I know.
I got another emotion out of him.
That's 2, and that's your quotient for the year.
You mean quota?
No.
What we should do is actually we should open a breast augmentation clinic
All right.
and call it Bust or Bust.
And on that note,
Yeah? You sound like you want to close it off there, Thomas.
no, I want to shoot myself.
And on that note,
Hey!
so I think that's enough for this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've spoken.
Yeah,
of
we were
biopics.
wishy-washy about it. It's perfect.
The way a
Some
biopic
bi-
should be.
Yeah. Some biopics are good, some are terrible.
You guys got a lot to speak about in the beginning, and Deon got a lot to speak about at the end.
Yeah.
And then you all three spoke a lot in the middle, and I kind of watched you guys.
Yeah.
So I think it
You're
was
a good
one.
host.
You
Yeah, you're a
cunning
great
way.
I asked the questions, and you got to answer them.
Oh,
The
I
listeners
think
don't
we're
wanna
the
learn about
host. He's
me.
the parasite.
Yeah. It's almost like he's a symbiote.
Oh my
Ow!
Okay, fuck it, we're done. We're done.
Fucking, that's it.
Okay, let's give our recommendations.
Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween.
Halloween?
Yeah, the sequel is coming out this Friday.
Oh really? Is John Carpenter involved at all?
He is doing the music for it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as long as it doesn't feature that Jamie Lee Fox.
Jamie
woman.
Lee Fox, yeah.
Jamie Lee Foxx.
Jamie Lee...
Jamie Lee Fox
Wait,
Curtis?
no? Yeah, Curtis. Curtis Conrad.
What?
What?
Are you telling me it has a female lead?
Oh, social
wait,
justice.
wait.
No.
How long
Michael
is her-
Myers is the lead.
How long is her hair?
How long is her hair?
Short.
Ooh, what color is it?
It's sort
Grey.
of like a purplish grey.
So dyed. So basically, they're pushing an agenda.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
bet she uses guns.
God, not even horror movies have something political to say, which they've
Ugh.
never done in the past.
Okay, all jokes aside, I can't fucking
can't
wait.
fucking
Yeah,
wait. It's
right.
gonna
Sorry
be-
for that.
Yes.
Yes.
Sideshow collectible.